Radu. We are missing one of the activists of the Democratic Party, MD Alam. He's not here. Maybe he will continue. He will coming soon. So it's my pleasure to have you in Yaba Association building. And tonight we are going to meet with our candidate for the chairman of the Democratic Party in the state of Michigan. Welcome all, wa ahla wa sahla bikum jami'an. Now we have Mr. Ali Bil-Eid Abu Dhafar, who has been very active in the community and the caucus, and he would like to say some words, and then we'll give the microphone to Dr. Abdul Hakim.
Thank you, Mohsen. Good evening, everybody. By the way, Mohsen is the president of Yemen American Benevolent Association. It's been in the community 50 years. This coming years will celebrate the 50th anniversary. And we have the project over there for the new building. I hope all of you will help us to make sure we accomplish that building. I repeat my welcome to all the candidates who's running for the chairman position of the Michigan Democratic Party. This is a kindly debate or a small debate to see what is in their mind and make sure on February 2nd that we'll attend the Michigan Democratic Party convention. Because of there we will elect one of them to be the chairman, also some vice chair. We have a coffee over there and we have a tea over there. And the question will be limited, of course. The chairman will ask a few questions, and then we have some card over there. If anybody have question, write the question in the card and give it to us, and we will respond to it. Please, the question don't go out of the topic or the subject that we are about it tonight. So welcome all of you, and I will give the microphone to my friend Dr. Abdul Hakim Sada, the chairman of the Yemeni American Democratic Caucus. I'm the vice chair and also co-chairs. And I am a member of the Democratic Party for more than 40 years. And I'm a member of the executive committee of 12th District, which is headed by our Congresswoman David Engel. Welcome the mayor of Hamtramck. He just ran in. Go with Abdul Hakim Saad.
Thank you, Ali. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to have all of you. Greg and myself were talking about the Yemeni Democratic Caucus before we started. And I told him that the Yemeni American Democratic Caucus, though new, 4 years, 3 years, what we have done in the caucus is, to my knowledge, no other caucus has done. We have connected the caucus across the state of Michigan, and we have members, active members, in both the Democratic Party and the caucus across the state. From Coldwater to Port Huron to Flint to Detroit to Hamtramck to Dearborn to every major city in the state of Michigan in 4 years. And that happened because of the level of cooperation. The leaders of the community have worked in this project. It was an idea, then a project, then it became the reality. This is one project that get all of us together. We all working in the community, in this caucus. For simple reason, the Yemeni American have always voted. 99% of the Yemeni Americans that do vote Democratic. And for so long, we have voted, supported the Democratic Party, and yet have gained nothing from the Democratic Party. In a different sense, you know, this is a caucus meeting, so I wanted to be frank and honest, and I also expect you to be frank and honest when you ask our capable candidates. We were so marginalized before the caucus within the Democratic Party, as many other people been. The Democratic Party is not in a good state. I tell you that as a member of the Central Committee. I tell you that as a 30 years active member in the Democratic Party. Some will argue, say, well, the party just won in Michigan. We won the top seats in Michigan. Yeah, that still didn't move us anyway. We're still in a gridlocks. Michigan is a right-to-work state. How ashamed is that for each one of us in this room as a Democrats? Yeah, we want to fix the damn roads, and that's good, but we also need to fix the damn party. And we need a leaders who's going to fix the damn party. In front of you, ladies and gentlemen, are the candidates, the main candidates, to run for the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. Yesterday when I was talking to my son, Ahmed, who is taking his first civic and government class, I told him, you want to come so you could learn. This is a good experience for you. So he looked me in the eye and he said, Baba, so to show me that he knows something about politics, and he shocked me with the first question. He said, Baba, I said, what? He said, so what Democrat are you? I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, Baba, it's so disfranchised that everybody is talking that they are a Democrat, but they really, nobody knows anymore what being a Democrat means. That shocked me. But guess what? This is the truth. This is where we are. This is the way the party is. You, ladies and gentlemen, have a lot in your plate. We do not expect miracles, but we want focus in reorganizing the party. How dysfunctional the Democratic Party is today, I'll tell you this. Try to call the office in Lansing. Just try. Pick up the phone, call the Democratic Party. Those are people we paid as Democrats. We paid them. These are professional people. They should be in their offices. They are not politicians. They are workers that needs to be there 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. Try to call the office. I tell you what, you're not going to get an answer. You're going to get a voicemail, and then you will never get anybody to call you back. Now, I say this with sadness, I say this with anger in the same times, but I want the ladies and gentlemen that's running to know that we're willing to work with you, but we need a clear vision. Enough is enough of this disarray. We need to win, and the only way we're going to win is by fixing the top, and if the head is fixed, the body will function. We are honored. In behalf of our caucus, we welcome each one of you. The format tonight will be straightforward format. Each candidate is going to get 5 to 7 minutes to introduce themselves, their programs, what they need to do. After the introductions, we're gonna have question and answer. Please, back in there is papers, write the questions at any language you want, bring it to us, we will provide it to the candidates, whether you wanna ask them collectively or individually, however you want it, it's an open format, and then they will have a chance to answer the questions. After we're done with the question and answer, each candidate will have about 3 minutes at the end to add, to say whatever they wanted, and this is how we end this caucus meeting. I truly thank you for being here, and it's an open format, so relax, and whatever you have in your mind, put it forward. We are all among family and friends. I told the candidates that please don't be politically correct. Just be honest and say it as is, because every person in this room have been a Democrat for 20, 25, 10, 30 years. So you're among family and friends. Once again, thank you very much. And I'm gonna start with right here, Lisa.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Lisa Dorado, and that's El Dorado like the car. That's how you pronounce it. I grew up in Dearborn. I grew up on Pinehurst, 7917 Pinehurst, right near Tyerman. I went to McDonald Elementary School. My parents came from Italy. My dad was a cement mason, and my mom was a homemaker. And I was the first one to graduate from high school in my family. I went to college. I'm a chemist. I have also have a master's degree in chemistry, and I have an MBA, master's degree in chemistry from University of Michigan, and I have an MBA in international business and finance from New York University. I love the Democratic Party, and I'm a proud Democrat, but I love the party enough to know that we can do more, and we can do better. In high school, I was a political, not very political active, but as a college student, I was a political activist. But then, as I grew up and I moved to Northville, I found the Northville Democratic Club, and we attended a little bit. But then my daughter came home from high school, and she told me that she started the Northville Democratic Club at Northville High. And I said to my husband, she is shaming us. We need to become very active in the party, and that's what we did. As you know, Northville is generally a red area. Well, it was a red area. Many people for years did hardcore, good old-fashioned political organizing, knocking doors, making calls, holding events, holding meetings like this. And now we have flipped 5 seats from red to blue in 2018 after loss. We have Congresswoman Haley Stevens. Yay, you can clap for that. Haley Stevens! We have our state senator is Dana Pohenke. She was a teacher. We have our state rep, who is Matt Colasar. He was a teacher. So we, in a matter of one turn, were flipped to Democrats. I'm the leader of the Northville Democratic Club, and I'm one of the leaders in our 11th district, the vice chair. I know Sammy, I know many of you from the DNC convention. I was a delegate. And although I was the leader, I was the spark that started the fire. But all of the people that worked, they are the ones who got it done. And that was all of our Democrats. That was Women from Indivisible. That was Michigan People's Campaign, activists who did, they call it deep canvassing, where they talk to people for a long time. And so what I bring to the table is collaboration, is different groups working together, building bridges. And that is how we will move forward. Every group has our advantages, what we do better. But when we all work together and collaborate, that's when we get better. Now, I believe there's 3 things we need to do in the party. First of all, we need to update our message. We need to speak our message, because Democratic message is generally unconscious and unspoken. And if I ask you, who are we as Democrats? It's difficult to say, but I'll tell you, Democrats have empathy. Everybody cares about their own people. If you're a Democrat, you care about other people. Democrats believe in responsibility for ourselves, and we believe we are responsible for each other. And we also believe in the common good. We believe that good government can make people's lives better. And that is our message. And that is our strength. So in Northville, we did a big value message campaign. We put up lawn signs that said 5 different phrases. Vote kindness, vote respect, vote fairness, vote honesty, vote equality. And they were a blue sign with that, and we would sit them right next to our candidate signs. And we also did a similar thing in a digital campaign. It would pop up on your phone. And that is messaging so that we tell people our values. You know your value when you feel it right here. And through that messaging, in Northville, we made it so that people were proud to be Democrats, that people came out, Democrats that never voted came out and voted. We had the highest turnout ever in Northville due to this campaign. The second thing we need to do is we need to more support for our local parties, our local clubs, our local caucuses, through precinct delegate program, through training. There's some training going on here tomorrow, so that is exactly the kind of thing we need to do. In Western Wayne County, we trained 200 people over in 2018. And when it was time to work, they came out because they were already trained. Now 2019, again, it's the time to train. And also, we need a communications platform so that the party can speak to members more easily, so that you can find out information that you need, when is your membership up, and different kinds of information, when events are, just to simplify our life. Now the third thing is maybe the most difficult. We need to bridge some of the gaps in the party. And those gaps are started in the 2016 election. We know what happened with the progressives and the establishment. Even now, there's some people who don't like indivisible. In order to bridge the gaps, we have to actively work on spending time together. It is attending events, it is showing up, it is putting leaders of different groups together to talk out differences, and let's talk about what we have in common. So thank you.
Good evening, I'm Lavora Barnes. I want to start by saying thank you to all of you. First for inviting us here, but second for the work that you all have done. You've developed a caucus here that is an example to caucuses across the state about how you build something strong and real and reach across the state, and I appreciate the work that you've done. I am currently the Chief Operating Officer of the Michigan Democratic Party, which means I spend a lot of my time right now behind a desk managing money and people and programs and mail and TV and all of the things that come out of the party year-round, cycle to cycle, all the time. I'm originally from Virginia. I live in Ann Arbor right now with my husband and our 3 kids. In Virginia, my political start was because I had a college professor who ran for office and asked for volunteers, and I volunteered, and I loved the work. I loved the connection with folks at the doors, and I decided to not go to law school and instead continue to work in politics. So I managed some congressional races, I managed state house races, I managed city council races in Virginia, eventually helping to elect Virginia's first African-American governor. And then I came to Michigan with my husband. He took a job here. And my first job in Michigan was with the State House. And I was an organizer there. spent several cycles working in the field, knocking doors, making phone calls, working for state house candidates, and was eventually promoted to the director of that caucus operation, which was a terrific job, helping to elect state house candidates all over the states. One of my favorite jobs I've done. In 2012, I was the state director for the Obama campaign, running as coordinated a campaign as I could with a national campaign that, frankly, wanted us focused on Obama only and not reaching down to help folks down ballot. But I believe in Michigan, that's how we win. So we worked hard to make that happen in 2012. In 2013, I went with my friend Lisa Brown to the Oakland County Clerk's office, where I was her deputy clerk, helped her manage that office, that budget, that staff of about 300. And then in 2015, I joined Brandon Dillon at the state party, partnering with him to try to start turning that party around. Went in with some high expectations of what we could do, and discovered that we just needed to figure out how to get the basics right at the party first, and then work our way up to some of my dreams. 2016, as you all know, was frustrating and hard for us at the party, and we learned lots of lessons that we put into practice immediately after, where we started our Project 83, which was our 83 county organizing strategy, putting folks in the field, on the ground, knocking doors, talking to voters, supporting our local, county, and district parties in the work that they're doing. And that work continues now, continues in 2019. And it was the basis of the 2018 One campaign, which is what we called our coordinated campaign. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that on the ground work as a party in 2019. We know, success doesn't mean you rest on your laurels. Success means you keep working for more. We've got issues we need to deal with. We've got elections we need to win. We've got work we need to do. And I think that this is probably, this is like a seminal moment for this party, where we make a decision right now about who we're going to be going forward, and whether we are committed to continuing to win by talking to Michigan voters on a regular basis over and over again in their neighborhoods, hiring people in their neighborhoods to talk to those folks, or whether we're going to let, frankly, the national folks come in and once again try to tell us how to run our campaigns. And I will tell you, that's a recipe for disaster. That's how we lose. So we've got to put ourselves in a position to be strong and ready when the national campaigns come in, so we can say, this is how you run a Michigan campaign, by hiring people in Michigan, not folks from Philadelphia, to come in, and we hire our neighbors to knock our neighbors' doors and talk to our neighbors. So I'm looking forward to your questions. I see lots of familiar faces in the audience. It's good to see you all. I appreciate you having us here. Let's get to some questions. Thank you.
Right. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you feeling today? Good. Feeling good? I'm feeling good too. One of the things that I'm feeling good about is I got here a little early because I wanted to meet people and be able to talk to you, and out of respect for this event that you were putting on, I wanted to have the opportunity and fellowship with you beforehand. And I got here early enough where, my name is Greg Bowens, by the way. I got here early enough where I could go to the gas station, right at the mobile right up here, and I was getting some gas, and then I heard the call to prayer. And I'm not Muslim, I'm Christian, but when I heard the call to prayer, there was something that touched me. Suddenly I felt like that I was a part of the call to prayer, the thing that was going on. So I took a minute and I paused and I centered myself and did my own prayer. And it's interesting for me because I am a Christian, and I'm going to show you something here. We all have our sacred objects and we have our spiritual practices. And mine includes this. I carry it with me everywhere. Now, I got this from a Muslim brother in the Eastern Market when I were looking for prayer beads. And I got hip to this because I was on 696 one day, rushing to get somewhere, and the traffic was backed up, and I was frustrated. And I looked over to my right, and there was this Indian brother sitting there in the car. And he was dressed up, and he was moving along, and he was going like this. And I said, that brother's praying, and we in traffic, and I'm frustrated. But I looked at him, and when he did that, I got calm. And I said, I want to be able to do that too. And so somehow I found my way to this. These are the beads made in the Muslim tradition. 99 B's, the 100th one being the name of God, a break at every 33. I know it, but I've never read the Quran, and I'm not a student of that, but I am connected. I am connected. And that is what I feel like in this room today. And that is what I feel like is lacking in the Democratic Party. I'll be honest with you, I'm a veteran of 22 different campaigns. I used to work for Dennis Archer. I graduated from Wayne State. I too grew up on Pinehurst, but 13536 Pinehurst, up by Schoolcraft in Wyoming. I grew up not knowing that being around Muslims and Arab folk and people from the Middle East was like a thing, because they're always been around for me growing up here on the West Side. It wasn't until I joined the Navy and I traveled that I realized it was a thing, because I would be in San Diego and I might meet a brother from the Middle East and I'd say, he'd say, where are you from? And I'd say, Detroit. And he'd say, Detroit? I know Detroit. It seems like everybody came through Detroit before they would go someplace else. And so even though I would be thousands of miles away, I had that kind of connection with people because of where I'm from and because of the way that our community has grown here. It is such an amazing thing. And so I get upset with the Democratic Party, having worked with the Democratic Party in all kinds of positions. If I look familiar, it's because I pop up on TV defending Democratic principles, on Let It Rip or something like that, beating up on the Republicans, which is my favorite pastime. And I carry that with me. So whenever I go around the community, people will say, you're doing a great job, keep it up. And are you elected? Are you a lawyer? And I'll go, no, I'm none of that. I'm just a guy trying to make a difference. And so the Democratic Party today, to me, has really lost its way. We've become too much of a corporation and not enough of a community. People got nice titles. They're chairman, they're CEO, they're director of this and director of that, and they're up there in Lansing doing their thing. But the fight is happening every single day right where we are. So the work that you're doing here needs support today. It's not just a matter of people not returning phone calls. That's just sort of bad customer service, and those kind of things could be fixed if we had that focus. But we don't have the kind of focus that we need in order to be a community. And that's what I'm talking about. We need to be more of a community, less of a corporation, and be the kind of party where three things are happening. One, the door is always open and you can always get some help. Two, we'll never leave you behind. And three, we got your back. Now, we don't promise that as a Democratic Party because everybody's busy trying to do their own thing, and everybody's trying to get this job, and everybody's trying to move up that way. And so we don't reach out and plant ourselves next to each other, lifting each other up the way that we should. How much time do I have? I'm good? 2 minutes? Okay. I'm going to tell the story right quick. For those of you who have ever been to California and seen the redwood tree and the redwood forest, those trees are magnificent. They are hundreds of years old. They grow hundreds of feet high, and you have to put 3 or 4 people to put your arms around it. These trees are so magnificent and so big because their root system is interdependent. Their roots lock up, and their roots feed everybody. So that if somebody starts getting weak, the other roots pick it up. That's what we need to be doing in the Democratic Party. We need to be connected and leaning on each other in a way that the club here is being fed and being grown, and so is the club in Kent County, and so is the club in Dearborn, and so is the club in Detroit, and so is the club in the UP.
Thank you.
But we can't do that if we're not a community.
I would like to welcome, of course, Saad Al-Masmari. He's Hamtramck CD council members, and also I would like to welcome Sami Khaldi. He's the president of Dearborn Democratic Club.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, we'd like to have a special welcome of the Honorable Mayor of the City of Hamtramck. Fantastic, great friend. She is part of the family. She's been part of the family, and I can, for one, say that she is honored to say that she is my friend. Thank you all for that presentation. And what we're going to do now is have the co-chairs have about 1 to 3 minutes to speak, and then if the Honorable Mayor wants to say something, we'll do that in order so we could have that. Then we're gonna go to the question and answer. Please take a paper from the table right there. That's Hamada, my son, and bring it any questions you have. So we're gonna start with Saad and then the mayor. We're gonna start with the mayor and then go to Saad, and then if Waleed wants to say something, then we'll go back to the question and answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not going to take up your time here because you've got a job to do. Everybody here in the audience has a job to do, and the most important thing is that I'm here to hear the concerns of the Yemeni American Democratic Caucus and hear the answers of our candidates here. But I thank you for the warm welcome, as I always feel so welcome in your community. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to welcome all the candidates and brothers and sisters here. And I wanted to say something to the Yemeni American community. Let's not underestimate ourselves. We are a big factor in Michigan. And Michigan is a big factor, as we seen in 2016 election. So let's not underestimate ourselves. Let's work hard. Let's vote for the right person. I think, as I heard them, they are great candidates. So let's not have Donald Trump re-elected in 2020, please. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Of course, I cannot not welcome a very special dear friend. She was my professor at Wayne State when I was doing my MSW in 2009, and she was not just a teacher, but an activist, a concerned Detroit citizen. Professor, would you please stand up? Thank you for being here. Please stand. Thank you. See, I told you I was going to do that, right? Okay. We're going to open the questions. I don't see any papers. We asked to write the questions. So please go ahead and have the questions. Bring it to us. While we do that, I'd like to ask the candidates to each have about 1 minute to tell us very specifically what do they think will close the gap between the elites of the party and the majority of the party. Have you thought of that? And what is the steps that the first thing you're gonna do to close that gap while we get the other questions? Please, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You're right here, so we're gonna go that way.
So I believe that closing the gap is the responsibility of the leader. As the leader of the party, if the leader is a servant, if the leader shows up everywhere all the time, then there's no longer a gap between the top and the bottom. Since mid-December, when I decided I was going to run, I've attended 39 events, and I love it. I was at the Dearborn holiday party. I ended up at 22 holiday parties. And I really feed off of being with my Democrats. I heard their concerns. And the one common concern is that the activists, the people doing the work, they just want to be valued. They don't want to be just contacted a couple of months before the election. They want to also be included all day long. So as your leader, I would meet with you. I would fellowship with you here, and I would include you in our have representatives on our executive board, and also include you all the time.
Thank you.
One of the things that frustrates me is that we've got a level of leadership in this party, folks who get jobs, titles, vice chair, and then don't show up and don't do anything. So the first thing I'm going to do if I'm chair is get vice chairs and committee chairs who actually meet, so that you folks can come to those meetings and participate in those meetings and participate in the work of the party. We're going to have vice chairs who are actually active and out in the community and participating, because one of the things that is easy to see is that you can't get to people if they're all someplace else and not coming to you. So I pledge that the team of folks that I bring with me when I am chair, if I am chair, will be active, open, accessible, and will actually have committees that meet and jobs that have responsibilities and will be available to you. And also, I would, as your chair, be available.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, I'm loud. Wow. Sometimes I think I don't need a microphone. It's like, woo, hey, let's go. I get it going. You know, the specific thing that I would do, and I'm waiting for MD. There he is. There's my man, MD. MD alum just walked in. Thank you for coming. I was getting worried about him, and I texted him. So I'm glad to see him. In either case, the specific thing that I think that we need to do right away is to get rid of these titles. We got to get rid of these titles for the people in Lansing who are walking around thinking like executives as opposed to thinking like community organizers and neighbors. And that's what happens when you get your mind stuck on I'm a CEO, I'm a director, and all that stuff. And so we have to get rid of the titles immediately. I'm not usually wearing a tie, and this thing is starting to bother me. You know, we're talking about what we're trying to do here. But what I'm trying to say is that when you work for me at the Michigan Democratic Party, you do not have a 9-to-5 job. You don't get a 9-to-5 job. You get a job building a community. And that means that you have to be available. And that means if there's an issue going on right here in this community, then we need to show up and get people to help support whatever it is you need to get done. The other thing is that we're really bad at sort of like membership services, constituent services, just answering the phone, like she just said. And I think that what we need to do is be a resource for you, but we also need to be a resource for our state reps and these elected people. So many new people get elected up there that they don't know what's going on. And the lobbyists have control. There's no institutional memory. So they get elected, they're out there on their own, they don't know what to do. They got a D after their name, they may come from this community, but once they get up there, they start working across the aisle, and God's shifting over to the right, and the next thing you know, they're voting and doing things against our values, and they get away with it. So we got to stop that kind of stuff.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Our able, capable co-chair. Brother Walid, you want to say?
Bismillah.
We apologize for the microphone. We fixed it the last minute.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome for everyone. Welcome for this tonight's meeting with the Democratic running for seat co-chair. And I want one thing from any one of you is going to get to the chair. We have a lot of the Yemeni community. They are very active. They are very educational. If you get to the office, we don't need just promises here. We need the promises coming true and real to push for any one of them, men or women or both, for state senates or anything. We need the Democratic Party in Michigan to be behind us and stay with us, because we are number for votes and we are 100% Democrats. And we need the Democrats to be with us 100%, like what we are doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the fourth candidate, Brother MD Alam. We're he's gonna take his turn. Five minutes to introduce yourself, sir. Please. Here's the microphone. You can stay there.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum, my brother and sister. I'm sorry and I apologize. Actually, I had a meeting in Auburn Hill, and I was talking to my friend Greg. He knew about it, but sorry to come late. My name is MD Alam. I come from Bangladesh. I'm a veteran, and I served this country with the pride and dignity. I was a United States Army sergeant. I had the opportunity to serve in Barack Obama's campaign, and when in 2008 I had the chance to travel 22 states under that leadership. in 2016, I had also chance to work with Bernie Sanders, chaired the campaign Muslim for Sanders. And alhamdulillah, but looking at the fact that how we are putting ourselves in the mainstream and trying ourselves to the service and value our life, value our dignity, and try to do the same job. And at the same time, I have been experiencing and looking at that, yes, Michigan Democratic Party, it has a greatest value. If you look at 2008, what happened, Barack Obama, he came up with more than 600,000 votes than John McCain. So Michigan has the voters. So this Democratic Party need leadership that can reach out to all the inclusion, all the, in a small pocket, and of course the community at large. So 2010, I was the DNC Asian American Caucus chair, had the chance with my leadership and tenure at the Asian American Caucus, we put 27 state chapters, for that Asian American Democratic Caucus. So I believe that after this 2016, what upsetting we had seen in Michigan, it was so upsetting still yet when we outrank and we had the greatest number. 2008 and 2018 was the replica, what Barack Obama brought as a message for hope over fear. And as you remember how the entire, and I'm going to be talking about just this group and this caucus, Yemeni American Democratic Caucus, just like another segment of the Muslim Democratic Caucus. We have Faith Caucus in the DNC, and we have the Democratic Caucus that actually chaired by Malik Mujahid from Chicago. So the point what I'm telling here that yes, it is the time that we have to be accountable for, and we have to be engaged, involved. And you need a leader that is much more efficient, much more effective, proficient, and understand the value and the culture, what's happening right now, 21st century, the technology. I want to just give you one small example that you all know, that there was a young lady, 28 years old, in New York City, in Bronx, and she was running against a 32 years veteran Democrat, Joseph Crowley. And if Joseph Crowley was not defeated, he would be on the second in the line, and then Nancy Pelosi to run the Democratic chamber for the completely the U.S. House of Representatives. But guess what happened? This Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's just 28 years old, when she was running for office, no media got any attention, nothing happened, but guess what? She upset the entire establishment, and she did that because of the technology, the social platform, the social media platform. Nobody can tell that social media platform has no significant value. It has a significant, well-profounded value in 2018. 2016, when the Republican Party and Trump and his recklessness, what Robert Mueller came up with, the 36,000 fake accounts, they propagated, they fabricated, but they created like a legitimate message, and that's how they, got the winning against Democrat. What I'm telling you here, I am MD alum, as I told you, and I have a MBA in MIS, and a doctoral student, a candidate with a PhD with the computer information. I would love to get your support on the second. Inshallah, we're going to be taking your questions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We just to be fair to everybody, so I'm sorry I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to be fair to everybody.
Definitely, that's how it's
yes.
going.
So I'm sorry for doing that, but I have to. Okay. Another co-chair, Khalil, you want to say something? You get okay, great. Thank you. The shorter, the better. We have a lot of questions, and we're going to start from the first one, 1 to 2 minutes each. The first one said, what did the party did in 2018 that they did not do in 2016? This is an easy question, 1 to 2 minutes, please. Go ahead and just pass the microphone.
Do you want to start and then come back?
Yeah, go ahead, start with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for everybody. I didn't have any questions for any specific one of you, so all the questions are directed to you all.
So in 2016, of course, you know, I mean, I was a leader in Northville. I was a leader in the 11th. You know, we have to own that loss. If we were there organizing, we didn't get it done. But I can tell you what we did in 2018 that we didn't do in 2016. We ran a very local campaign. In 2016, there was one big success story. In Canton, Michigan, there was they ran a slate. They had 6 Republicans and 1 Democrat. They ran as a slate on local issues. They flipped that whole seat of local trustees to 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans. Shock, right? 2016, everyone lost. So I contacted my friend there. I said, how did you do it? And he said, well, we did a universe. He explained to me technically how it was done. We did slate cards. I said, okay, well, that's what we're going to do. So the 4 communities in Western Wayne County, Livonia, Plymouth, Northville, and Canton, I held meetings once a month for all of the leaders. We brought the people in who knew what to do. We did 30,000 slate cards. We knocked doors. We talked about local issues, and we collaborated with other groups. We didn't do what we did in 2016. We have to play in every precinct. We have to play in the red areas, even like Northville, and that's what we did, and that's what we want.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the difference between 2018 and 2016, there are so many. The big one is that we ran a Michigan-based coordinated campaign. Our Michigan candidates contributed to this campaign, and we hired Michiganders all over the state to work for this campaign. We opened 53 offices all over the state, many more than were open in 2016. We did mail, door hangers, door knockers, all with candidates all the way down the ballot on them all over the state. There's not a county that we didn't have folks on the doors or on the phones. And we also used some of the newer tools that are available that we didn't use in 2016. The 2016 coordinated campaign was not allowed to use the minivan, which is where you get the list on your phone of folks to call or knock doors. We used that extensively in 2018. We also used text programming. We used something called Voter Circle and something called Team, which were both relational organizing tools that allowed people to text or call or Facebook message their friends and neighbors that were in their phones. We used a thing called Mobilize, which allowed us to put all of our events and door knocks on the web so folks could find them based on their address, sign up to volunteer to help and go knock those doors. But the thing that I think honestly made the most difference is the fact that we hired Michigan folks to do Michigan work all over Michigan, and that's how we're going to do it in the future. That's how you win. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You know what? I'm just going to be loud, because I think we should be loud. In fact, I think we should be mad about what's been going on. The difference between 2016 and 2018, quite frankly, is we didn't have leadership in 2016, and we don't have leadership now. But the difference thing that we do have is that we got President Trump as president, and he's got everybody so mad that they're coming out and they would vote for Mickey Mouse. Now that's the truth. We got riled up, fired up, and came out, and there were independents that didn't want to be associated with the Republican Party. There were Republicans, y'all know them, who quit the Republican Party and voted with us. Now they're not joining us, they're not signing up, but we should have them. But we don't have them. And when 2020 rolls around, this is going to be the same old thing all over again, because we don't have leadership rallying the troops, being in the fight every single day today. Now, my man talked about the kind of issues that we faced here. Nobody out here should feel like that they're alone and struggling to do. We got that table of young people back there. We need to be raising them up to be activists and Democrats and giving them the resources and the tools so that they can take our place. Not 10 years from now, not 20 years from now, but next year. They can be doing the work. But we're not putting the time in with them because we don't have that kind of focus. We got a bunch of executives in Lansing who are coming up with plans and not engaging people. Now that's what I want to do. I want to start putting money into our youth, creating programs to stop Republicans from snatching these kids, because that's what they're doing. Go down to Dearborn High School. You'll see the Republican Club.
Thank you.
All right, guys, what upset in 2018? I just want to give a name, and that name is so powerful in entire Michigan. John Conyers, 42 years, been in the power. And in 2018, his son was on the ticket. His nephew was on the ticket. But guess what? Also, Coleman Young, the second, Alexander, who was a current senator, he was on the ticket. At the end, we saw Rashida, who just got elected. What happened there? What Greg said here. We understand that 2016 was the presidential election year. Absolutely. We are hopeful that this is going to happen, that's going to happen. But the campaign, Hillary Clinton did not come, not until the third week of September. October. We failed our campaign in 2016. 2018, we already know that January 20th, 2017, the red hat man, the reckless Trump who came in power, who made all of us insignificant, who said he's going to diminish the value and capacity, who he did. And now we had candidates like Yaput, a candidate, Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed. There was a candidate coming from another immigrant community. Siri Tanadar, candidate winning victory like Rashida Tlaib. That's what you did. That's a grassroots movement. You did it. But this party needs leadership. They can benefit and they can utilize the same social media and that platform how Rashida Tlaib bit that 42 years leadership here in town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. No, yeah. When I stand up, that means your time is up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to keep looking at it.
So there's a.
Have that man right there stand up so we can see him.
So this is a question that's dear to every one person here. This is a question that means a lot to the Yemeni American community. It's about the travel ban. And the question says, the travel ban is affecting every Yemeni American and their families here and abroad. What would you be doing as a chair to the Democratic Party in Michigan in a very specific point in that regard? So 1 to 2 minutes. Again, we start right here. When I stand up, no, it's your time up.
So for those of us who were devastated by the election of Trump, when we actually got him, it is so much worse than we could have even imagined. And my heart goes out to all these are real people that are affected by that awful travel ban. As chair of the party, I think we have to actively show up with you, next to you, behind you, to when it's time to protest, when it's time to stand up, when it's time to write, letters. Everything we can do, we have to take the lead from our leaders in the caucuses, in the Yemeni caucus, and we have to be bold. Greg said that. We have to be bold. We cannot be timid. We cannot be worried about what people are going to think of us. If we're Democrats, we have empathy. We care for all our people are suffering. Even if it's not our people are suffering, we care because we are all human beings. And so we would stand with you, protest with you, and activate.
Trump is, you know what Trump is. It breaks my heart. And let me tell you this, what the Democratic Party chair has is a bully pulpit. He can stand on that soapbox, or she can stand on that soapbox and make some noise. And you know what? We're gonna make some noise, right? You're gonna get the full-throated support of the Michigan Democratic Party and its chair, because silence is not an option. And sitting down is no longer an option. We have to stand up and link arms and fight back, because it's the only way we take back this country. It's the only way we protect our brothers and sisters from being mistreated over and over and over again. It's the only way we get back to the America that I believe in, and I hope for, and that I imagine someday we'll have. You and I both know it's not from the past. It's not the America of the past. It's the America of the future. It's the hope that I see in the eyes of my kids and those kids back there. And the way we get there is to stand together, arms linked, fighting. And I'll be there.
Thank you. All right, there you go. All right, now we're getting somewhere, right? People are starting to talk about standing up, doing stuff. And I like that. Today, I was out front in the federal building with the people who are impacted. They ain't getting no paycheck. You know, they're telling people to come to work, and they're not going to get paid. Now, I don't know how long you could do that, but I can't do that for very long. Well, I work for myself, so I can't do that at all. But we're not doing the standing up now. You know what I'm saying? We're not holding Democrats accountable and responsible for the promises that they make to us. And we don't do that because we got a bunch of weak leadership in the Democratic Party. Now, that comes out of Lansing. Laura's right. The chair has a bully pulpit. Lisa's right. There are things that we can do. We can stand with you. But this shouldn't be a mystery. I was down at Central United Methodist Church just the other day, where they are housing a family to keep them from being deported. And people are taking turns, taking the kids to school. Now, I don't know how many people on this panel have been down there, or how many people are even participating in that kind of program, or will tell you. But I'm telling you the truth. I know this because I live it and I see it. Now, we're talking about how do we stand up for people to the travel ban and that kind of thing. We get in their face. That's what we got to do. And we got to hold people accountable for the decisions they make. My man, MD.
You know, it's just not about travel ban itself. We know that in Yemen, there is external and internal crisis going on. Also, it's as I am living it, I am feeling it, I am breathing it, and I'm one of you. And we've been doing the rally, we've been doing the protest, and Karen Mayaski and Sadal Masmari and the entire community, Khaled, and we have all these people, Fidama, you have Okil, everybody have done a tremendous job past year alone. In Hamtramck, in Metro Detroit, you guys are traveling all over the United States. You guys have done in front of the federal building in Washington, D.C., in New York City, California. Here in town, if I am your elected Democratic Party chair, this is my plan, and this is what I'm hoping. We will request our elected representatives from the U.S. House, including with Rashida Tlaib and few others, maybe Haley Stephen, try to create a steering committee that they can push forward, and they can, one more thing. There's a young lady, her name is Ilhan Omar. She is elected from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and she's on the Foreign Affairs Committee. So there is a coalition, and that's needed to be happen from your home. And we have a huge, big community. Inshallah, I will work on that, but the promise is, inshallah, we're going to make it happen. Thank you.
Thanks. Question about the OEW. As you know, most Yemeni Americans are affiliated with the big threes, historically speaking. So what happened in the OEW concerns a lot of our retirees, and as you know, the UAW has been part of the backbone of the Democratic Party. The person right here said, Mr. Muhammad Saeed, what is the plan and why are we losing the OEW? Please keep it 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Maybe it would be fair if you start with somebody else. With the same.
Switch it around.
Start right there. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Are we going all the way down, or you want to?
Start here, or you want to go?
Yeah, you can start with you. That will be okay. Yeah.
So, correct, yes, the labor movement is indeed the backbone of the Michigan Democratic Party, and we have struggled to keep rank and file union members as Democratic voters. And I think we've done two things that we need to fix. Number one, we have stopped speaking to the issues that matter to the rank and file members of the labor movement. We have to talk about fair wages, we have to talk about fair work practices, we have to get rid of right to work. And number two, and I've had these conversations with labor leaders, I think a lot of our labor leaders have neglected to communicate clearly with their members why they should support the Democrats, what it is about the Democrat that they've endorsed that makes them worthy of that endorsement, and why they need to get out and vote. So what I would propose is that we continue to work with our labor leaders and our rank and file members to communicate more about why it is important to vote for Democrats and why we're the ones who are going to protect their rights and help fix the problems that the Republicans have created for workers in Michigan and around the world.
You know, union movement and labor movement, this is the fundamental for any success. And it's just not here in Michigan, it's all over the United States. You look at the global platform too. Without labor movement, nothing could be done. And always we have seen that the Republican Party is the party for six-figure earning people, and those labor union being neglected. And it's always, they have some type of a bizarre agenda. They try to go like work rights, and they try to, kind of hammer down those, blue and green workers. So what is the platform for the Democratic Party as a leader? We must continue the partnership. We have to rebuild and take to the next level that without the union movement, without the labor movement, and absolutely United Auto Workers, they're one of the huge right here in Metro Detroit and the hearts of Michigan. So we have to continue and to create partnership, and we need to continue the coalition. And absolutely, as your next MDP chair, I will continue that leadership, because I am the National Director for Alliance of South Asian American Labor, the only labor union movement from the immigrant community. Thank you.
My man, all right. I've been on strike. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to show up and get on the picket line. I got a box of food from right down the street when my kid was a little kid. I'm not proud of that kind of thing. It's not easy to take charity from somebody. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of experience really humbled me. 30% of the UAW votes Republican. The labor movement votes Republican. What? 3 in 10 households. That is ridiculous. And you know why they're doing that? They're doing that because we're not standing up with them. We're letting them drift off and think that they're going to get some other policies. When they're trying to organize, the leadership of the Democratic Party isn't helping them organize, isn't showing up where they are. I have helped people on so many strikes. Just finished with the nurses up in Flint. Do you know I pick up the phone and I call some of our Democratic representatives and they go, well, I don't know, I got to think about this, I got to look at both sides. What are you talking about? You're a Democrat. You're supposed to be working with the people. But they're able to get away with doing that kind of stuff and not helping people because we got weak leadership in the Democratic Party that doesn't pick up the phone and challenge those people and say, you need to get out there and help those people. And if you're not going to do that, then we're not going to support you. And if you keep acting like that, we're going to throw you out of office. But we don't challenge them in that kind of way. And that's why the UAW is like slowly trickling, because they're not getting the support from us. From the politics, from the people that run the party. Oh, you're standing up. Oh man, I'm sorry.
So let's talk about what our opponents, the Republicans, do right. They do a really good job of letting everybody know what it means to be a Republican.
Right.
And people want a strong party and a strong, message and an understanding. But we haven't done a very good job of letting people know who we are as Democrats. And I think if we can speak our message and bring our message forward, and create a labor movement, not just the UAW, but a movement of all working people, that is how we will bring the people in the UAW back into our fold.
Thank you. There's 3 questions. Actually, we're going to put them together, so you'll have about 3 minutes each to answer. One says, I am a federal employee. I have not gotten paid in about a month. It's unfair that congressmen and women get paid and we are not. This is one. Number 2, Michigan economy is not in a good shape. As a Democrat, what would you do for making it better? These are 2 questions in one, so please, you would have 1 to 3 minutes. Even if I'm short, so you can't see me when I stand up, but try to measure yourself, and I will knock in the door. So now we're going to start with you, Greg.
You want to start with me? All right. All right, thank you. You know, the job of the Democratic Party is different from the job of the politicians. The politicians, their job is to govern for everybody. You know, you hear the governor talking about, we got to reach across the aisle, see what we can do, work something out. But we're the Democratic Party. We know what the Republicans are going to do. Nothing. They're not going to do anything. So there's no reason for us to try and think like outside of that box. We're not trying to work with the Republicans. We're trying to beat the Republicans. And we need a leader at the top that understands that. Now, when we talk about the economy, we don't talk about the economy. We start talking about membership and saying $10, $20, $30. That's no big deal for anybody to pay to join the Democratic Party because you pay for Netflix and you got cable and all this stuff. But they forget, because they're executives, that people in the Democratic Party are trying to choose between food and medicine. And a membership should not be part of that equation. So if we can't even talk about that correctly, then how in the world are we going to talk to poor people about the issues that they are facing every single day? We're up here being elite, talking about this stuff, but we're not right here. We're not right here talking about the issues and helping you overcome the challenges that we face. Any one of you in this room, you're still sitting down, any one of you in this room can be a leader to help us push things forward. I need to get you out of this room and get you to Lansing so that we can get in the face of some of these politicians who aren't doing right by us. I see some young people here and some older people here that should be state reps and should be state senators. And we should be helping you get there so that your voice can be there in Lansing talking about the economy.
Thank you.
All right.
Great, thank you. They're coming. They're ready.
All right.
Yep.
Let's get them. Taking too long, babe.
Alrighty, guys. Listen, this is very unfortunate that nationally we have about 830,000 federal employees that are, unpaid over a month. This is the longest in history. It never happened before. The last longest was 19 days. So this president, with his time, he already surpassed 12 days. In Michigan alone, we have about 5,700 federal employees, and all of you. And I feel sorry. I'm a veteran. And also, we have some federal entitlement, but those people who are working within that domain and range and not getting paid, I'm sorry. What we can do, actually, I had the chance to meet with Haley Stevens last week. On a town hall meeting, I asked her that question, that we are talking and maybe we are doing town hall meeting. There are a lot of talk. Really, is there a rule and regulation, or is there a distinct, manner that will actually end this shutdown? So that is not on. So we requested that the House should pass a bill that will, kind of end that, this government shutdown, and there will be no way to reenact another shutdown. So the House is working on it. Unfortunately, Friday, what happened? On Wednesday, 2 days ago, I was thinking today's Sunday. On Wednesday, there was a second time, and that bill was, kicked out from there. And one more thing I want to add for that, Michigan.
It's a tie.
So my husband's a retired federal employee. It is shocking that in our country we could have such a dysfunctional government.
I know, right?
But what could we do as Democrats, as the party? I think our one option is putting pressure on our representatives to fix this, to get it done. And, not only our Republican representatives, now you have a Democrat here, we have a Democrat, yay, in Northville, I can't believe it, but we do. but also our Democratic representatives, so that they will have the power to step out boldly. When we call, when we write letters, when we go to the office of our representatives, even if we're supporting them, it gives them the ability to do things that they might not otherwise do. So I believe what we haven't done a great job, and the party can help, and as your leader I can help, is to help us hold our representatives accountable, whether they're Democrats or whether they're Republicans.
I mentioned that I'm originally from Virginia. A couple of members of my husband's family are on furlough in Virginia, not getting paid. And we've had some really tough conversations with them about how hard this is and the uncertainty of not knowing when you will ever get your money or if you will get your money. You know how I think we stop this thing? We don't pay Congress, right? Like it is ridiculous to me that they continue to collect their paychecks and sit and frankly do nothing to fix this standoff that they're having with the ridiculous president of the United States. So I agree with whoever wrote that first question. It's ridiculous that members of Congress continue to get paid and they should stop. And I also completely understand the importance of our party standing up for the people of Michigan, even if our elected officials are not doing that, right? Like that is the thing that we can do as a party, is speak up when we see that something is not being done to take care of the issues that are important to our people. And I believe with all my heart that as your chair, they might not want me to be chair again after I do it, whatever. But I'm gonna say those words because he's standing up, Greg, he's standing up. It's too important for us to sit silent, so I'm not going to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Greg. Catch fire. No fire.
I can't fire for 2 minutes.
I have a short question. But before that, I would like to welcome our CD Council members, very active lady, Leslie Hare.
Oh,
thank you for that. The question is, what you think make you qualify better than the others to be in that position as a chairman of Michigan Democratic Party? Second, will you make a commitment to have a Yemeni American in the key position in the MDP, also Arab Americans? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we were gonna keep this till the end, but
wow.
So
We can think
okay.
on it.
Along with that questions, there's actually 2 questions. I'm gonna combine them. Is in a very specific points, 1 to 3 points. How would you increase the youth participation and the democratic turnouts during of-the-year election? So, with that in mind and with the questions, and he said we can start with who? With
Andy?
and it's 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay. You know, MDP chair, you need an activist, you need a leader. You need a person who has drums and understanding of the 21st century technology. Also, you need somebody who has really knowledge and experience to put many caucuses, many committees, many standing committees, and many steering committees, and organizing many other communities. And absolutely, I know my brothers and sisters sitting here as your next on of the potential future MDP chair. Like everybody is qualified, don't get me wrong. But yes, I am fully qualified to, outrank. I've been running for office. I ran for Secretary of State myself. The Democratic Party always put you down because the establishment, I was able to get 47,000 votes, and I know how to get that. Number 2, I'm coming. As a party, has experience with working on the DNC and the party level. I'm elected delegates right here on the, precinct number 94. What I'm looking at here, that yes, we need the young people. We need to bring the caucus. We need to bring the steering committee and also standing committee. And also we're going to empower as the next MDP chair, mostly 24/7, like some type of space, army. And absolutely, I'll be looking forward for partnership from the absolutely Yemeni American and of course the Arab American, because I am one of your very own. Thank you.
Did you say Space Force?
Cyberspace.
Oh, you said MD got 7 degrees, so he all over the place. This is the most educated brother I ever met in my life.
Thank you.
Got 7 degrees.
Thank you.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Now, there are a lot of people up here. They are interviewing for a job. I'm interviewing to be a leader. I don't understand how it is even possible that we don't have a Yemeni brother or sister in an important position in the party. I mean, how is that possible? You can appoint 20 zillion people to be on the state central committee. Most people don't even know who's on that committee. The first thing that needs to be done is everybody that's on that committee, everybody that's in an important position, we're going to take their picture and we're going to put it on the website. And everybody can look and see how many white folks, how many black folks, how many Yemeni folks, how many Arab folks. And if you see something out of balance, then you can say to the chair, hey, look, this ain't right. We need to get some more people on here. Oh. I was like, wow, time is flying, But that's how we can assure accountability with each other, by simply making a simple change like that. Put their pictures on the website, let you see who they are. And if folks aren't in the right places where they can be influential, then we can fix that, and it'll be obvious to everybody what's working, right? So, but you got to be of that mindset. You got to be a community builder. You have to be the kind of person that you can lean into and depend on and know that they got your back. There are too many sneaky people in this party. They just really are, that are looking out for themselves. President company excluded, but you get what I'm saying.
Thank you. Can we please have it quiet, please? Could we have it quiet? The ladies and the gentlemen are talking and they're answering the questions. So I appreciate it. I am the policeman tonight. So I'm policing them, I can police you. So sorry for that. Go ahead.
Yes. As chair, I am committed to having Yemeni American, Arab Americans. I want a diverse group of folks working with me, standing beside me, helping me lead this party. It's not a one-person job. It's a team commitment, and I'm expecting and hoping for support from a team of people. I will say that what's about to happen to Michigan and this country in 2020 is very important, and I think I'm uniquely qualified to lead the party into this because of the years of experience I have helping elect Democrats up and down the ticket, because I understand how campaign finance works when it comes to the state party. I understand the inner workings of our party, and I have terrific relationships all over the country with folks that I think will support the work that we're going to do in 2019 and 2020 and help us build something strong here that goes into the next cycle and the one that follows behind. In terms of getting young folks involved, we have to go where they are, right? We can't just sit back and expect them to show up at a Dem Club meeting. We have to go where they are, and we have to use the tools that allow us to communicate with them. Those phones that they keep in their hands all the time are how they get so much of their information and so much communications. And we've got to use the tools that allow us to communicate with them on those devices to convince them to become part of our operation, our organization, and then get out to vote. And the other thing I want to talk about in terms of youth is that we have a youth caucus chair. I'm not sure anybody actually knows who that is or what she does because she hasn't done anything yet. So I'd like to reactivate that position and actually make that an important part of the leadership team at the MDP to come to us with ideas and thoughts and suggestions about how we reach out to the young folks and get them more involved and more interested in the work that we're doing as a party. I think we fail to bring the young folks into the room to be part of the conversation, and we need to fix that.
Thank you.
So I would commit to having someone from your Yemeni caucus as part of my executive board, and I would be looking for someone who is a really hard worker. I am a grassroots activist. I'm a hard worker, and that's the kind of people I want to be around. The second part of the question: why am I qualified? Well, let me tell you. This is a blue area, but I am specifically qualified to organize in the red area and turn it. And that's just a little different. Now, most of the state is red. And if we want to win 4 seats so that our Governor Whitmer can have a Democratic House, we have to go to red areas. The party hasn't done a good job of working in red areas. And we've actually, in our area, we did it through collaboration, through really doing different kind of campaigning. And that's what I would do in every corner of this state. We would begin to make farm teams. I would go there myself, not just send people. My husband's agreed to drive, he's retired, and we would travel this state to every corner to meet with people, look them in the eye, shake their hand, say thank you for organizing. You know, we're here together, we have each other. And I come to your events, and I know so many of you, but people are out there all alone. We need, and that's how we will win the rest of the state. Now, as for the young people, we had a really special program for young people in Northville. We did a digital program that showed up on their phone. It went specifically to young people. So at our board meeting, the woman came who we paid to do it, and one of our board members who's my age said, I don't think that was not any good. I don't know why we paid for it. I didn't get it on my phone once. And we have one 21-year-old, and he said, I was getting it all the time. It's creepy, but it will go right to certain people. And we can do that, and we will do that. Secondly, we will deal with issues that young people care about. We should be the champion for net neutrality. Young people understand why it's important. We all care about it. They just know how important it is.
Thank you. I have no idea that I'm that short for you not to see me next to you. So there's some. I know to brag on to too, but to you, and I'm like standing, and she's gonna look right now.
She didn't look at you. She didn't look at you.
There's a few people we have in this room that they have not. I didn't see any of their questions, and I kind of anticipated them to ask some questions. Joe, Brian, and Sammy, and they're kind of like being so quiet or nice, so I have no idea what it is. And I know Joe that he would not miss an opportunity.
Right.
So I don't know what's the deal with you, Brian, and Joe, and Sammy. So here's what I would do. I would allow you to stand up to ask any questions, please.
In the tradition of Thomas Paine, all change begins at the grassroots level. At this point in mind, to really address an issue, a problem, one has to know the dynamics of it. The Democratic Party is not limited to just being called liberals or progressives. It runs much deeper than that. You've got what they call Clintonian Democrats, Blue Dog Democrats, and corporate Democrats. How do you bring all these different factions within a single unified factor that best represents the viability and the health of a working middle class in America?
See what I mean? That is what I meant. Now, this is, do you want to answer the question directly, or you want to take the other questions? Up to you. You tell me. Okay. I'm kind of like putting people in the spot.
I can't remember.
Brian,
if you do another question like that, I'm not going to be able to remember.
I don't know why I'm doing that, but I just feel like you guys want to talk.
So. Hakeem, I know you're always going to put me on the spot, so it's fine. This is why we're friends. That doesn't sound good to me. No, it's good, because he holds me accountable. So I want to ask you guys a very simple question. I've been a communication director for a number of congressional campaigns. I've worked on a lot of different campaigns across Michigan. And every single time the campaigns close up, what happens is that everybody leaves. And we do not have in our party a system where we actually evaluate our progress, our failures, etc. And I've actually requested this. Back after 2016, I asked our party chair if he would be willing to gather together the different communications directors and campaign managers from our congressional campaigns, successful and unsuccessful, to look at what we did right and what we did wrong. And it's one of the big differences between our party and the Republican Party, because when they fail or when they win, they bring people in the room the next day and they say, you screwed up, this is what we need to do better. But we don't have that self-evaluation. And so what would you do to ensure that these campaigns, which are not necessarily a part of the party, are coming back the day after the election and having those examinations of how they did, so that we can learn those lessons from both our victories and our defeats?
Thank you. Sammy?
Yeah, I have comments. I really do want to thank you for coming. I mean, you're here because you really do care. Right. I mean, we are at a crossroad right now. With less than 3 weeks, we will be choosing who's our next party leader. You know, we need to look at who's able to lead this party, who has the experience, who has proven record that can really learn from the past and try to avoid or build on the things that we learned in 2016. You know, we have seen what's happened in 2016 when we did not do what we're supposed to do. We elected a president, he does not care about anybody. That's why we have a shutdown, and he doesn't have even any clue how to end it, or he has no desire to negotiate anytime soon with all the elected officials, regardless what your party is. So unfortunately, the working families are the one who's paying the price for that. So being a Michigan Democratic Party leader, it's a big task. You know, not just anybody can do this. We have a diverse state, you know, and we have a big community, actually, not just in Dearborn area, it's all around actually the state. I mean, there's a big Arab community in Sterling-Heights, Macomb County, and other Flint area, like you mentioned. So what I'm asking everybody to do is to stay engaged. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they just get engaged when there is an occasion or there is something. This is not how you do it. You need to stay engaged, and you need to always try to reach out. You know, if you want to be in the driver's seat, you have to be in the game all the time. If you just want to come here and address your issues and leave, they might probably hear it and then they're going to forget about it. You have to do the follow-up. And we need the leader to do both. It's always you have to come halfway. The leaders need to come halfway, and the people need to come halfway. We have to find a common ground. And I hope in November 2nd, you vote for the person you think is going to be the leader of this. February 2nd. February 2nd. February 2nd.
Thank you, Sammy. Okay, two more people I apologize. I really have to. And Leslie's going to say a few things.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I said I'm going to be the bad police officer. Adil, Ustad Adil, you're sitting right in the back.
Hey, Adil.
Hi.
Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that, you know, whomever the next leader, you are fantastic candidates, and we're really lucky as Democrats to have you run for that important seat, is to keep our eyes on the prize. You know, Donald Trump won Michigan by 10,000 votes. That's about, I would say, 20% of Dearborn voters, right? So the most important thing that I would look for, Chair, is how can we get the vote out and turn out the vote in areas where we know we have Democrats. And when Democrats stay home, we lose. So making sure that we do all of the things that were talked about in the beginning, but most importantly is win the state in 2020, making sure that it's always Democrat. So looking forward to reading more on you, and I've heard a lot of great responses. So thank you to the committee for organizing this and setting this. Otherwise, we would go to the convention not knowing a lot about your stand, where you stand, about your qualifications. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Sir Jamal, this is the last one.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for coming to here. My comment is not question, but comments. What I would see is the Democratic Party is no different from a big corrupted corporation. It looks similar everywhere like that. And every candidate, when he runs for a post, for government position, for any position, he keep giving promises. I do this, I will do this, I will do that. And this, we have experience from the third world countries. They keep promising us as soon as they get elected, they just follow the system. And it's happening here in the Democratic Party as well. I know tonight you came over here, you said great things. And I feel that you say it the ones we want to hear. And as soon as you go to another community, like Afro-American community, for example, you will say good words for them that they want to hear it. You go to the white community, you will say the same thing. But are you gonna hold your promises when you go to that position? Or you will be just following the system and be corrupted like them? Many people are like that. I give example for the ladies. Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, when she was elected, a journalist asked her question. He said, the country is corrupted, the government is corrupted. What are you going to do? She simply answered that question. She said, I am a housewife. And when I clean my house, I start from the top stairs and go down, clean everything until the bottom. I wish you would do the same thing, not only because you are a woman, but you or her. Think differently and just do it from the top if you want to clean it. And hear the people's voice, because the gap she mentioned, or everybody mentioned, it's everywhere, even in the small organizations. The leaders here, the other community down there, and that gap, miss of communication leads to more corruption, more bad things, and bad results.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Gamal. No, thank you very much. With that, Leslie, if you want to say something.
Sure. I don't need that, I don't think.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me a moment to speak. I'm so glad that you did this forum this evening and that we have our esteemed candidates here all in one place, because at the Dearborn Democratic Club we've seen candidates coming and going, but not all at one time at this point. And so it's nice to have you all here speaking and that you're sharing that message. I've met some of you in the past, but of the people serving on Dearborn City Council, I think that it's safe to say that of the 7 of us, I've been the most visible, vocal Democrat for about 10 years now here in Dearborn, having served with Sammy as an officer of the Dearborn Democratic Club. And it's been my observation, and Sammy knows this, that I personally have felt that there's kind of a missed opportunity that the MDP has had with clubs. I know Northville has a very active club. Dearborn has a very active club. We've done some precinct delegate training on our own. We're doing one tomorrow that I'm very excited about, because this is something that I've been advocating for. And I've asked him in the past, I said, are there any best practices, manuals, website we can go to for tools that clubs can use, things that have been effective to reach into the broader community? And it's been my experience that we haven't been giving those tools. Now maybe they're out there and we just kind of missed them. But just as a rank and file member, this is something that I'm asking whoever our next chair might be, provide those tools, because you've got leaders like Sammy and our other officers who are eager to share those things. And we've got people coming from other clubs who are coming to our training tomorrow because it's the first time they're hearing of such a thing. Not that it's the first time ever, I'm sure there have been some, but when our members hear about these opportunities, they are eager to jump in and learn from each other. And so I'm hoping that our next leadership will look to that grassroots level, because when you're talking about the Democratic Party being a corporation and losing sight of the little guy, I have seen that happen, and we're just very fortunate that we have people like Sammy and our other officers who've been doing it for years, and so we've been able to kind of maintain the momentum on our own. But you know, when we've talked about doing training, we need those resources. So I wanted to mention that. Another thing that came up that I personally have seen with our unions here in Dearborn, there's a disconnect. You've got the union leadership who supports the Democratic candidates and they raise the funds, but those, as you know, those union members go home to their own communities and vote totally differently. They may or may not even be listening. You know, some of them are less engaged than others. They pay their dues and they don't even hear the message. And I don't know what the answer is, but there needs to be more interaction with those union members at their level, at their meetings, rather than their leadership just going to Seattle for an annual convention or something, you know. we need to have those people understand how much it means that not just the history, but going forward, what the Democratic Party can do for the union members, because they're looking at their own paychecks, and right now a lot of them are saying, hey, I'm doing really well right now with the government we have right now. And we're up against a tough fight when they're seeing it in their paycheck, the changes that have been made in the last couple of years. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have an opportunity, 3 minutes, basically, to summarize the questions. Okay? No, I know they do. I know they do. I know they do. So, 3 minutes, finalize your thoughts.
There's a question here, man.
Closing remarks.
Yeah. So do you include the questions in your thought and do the closing remarks? 3 minutes. Okay? That's fair? I mean, I'm going to let that
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
3 minutes fair? Okay.
3 minutes.
So 3 minutes. And since we started right here, we're going to start at my friend there at the end. If he takes his phone down, we would really appreciate it.
3 minutes.
Thank you. 3 minutes. We're going to start.
Setting his timer. He's setting his timer. That's what he's doing.
We're going to start with you and then comes down.
Okay, come on, Emily.
It's not a Facebook time.
You know, we talked about a lot, but when we're going to do the job? First of all, I'd like to thank Abdul Hakim, and I know many of the leaders from the Yemeni community. Sami been great, and Walid been great for the Democratic Party since Obama arrival, and Sadr Masmari, Kern Mashi, and all these people here. I have my friend right here named Leon Choudhury, who is our director for ASAL. So I want to thank the entire community, and my friend sitting in the back, Rick, actually been a great work and support for Dana Nassau. So with my remark, I'm going to make a bold statement here. 2018, the election we have seen, the total credit I want to give about 80% credit, and that goes to proportionately Dana Nassau, Abdul Al-Sayed, Siri Tanedar. They were able to bring about 500,000 voters. They never voted before. They never been involved and engaged. They were able to fuel into and funnel into the system to bring a new masses. All these people had a great opportunity to bring the new people. And the party, of course, there are people also being tired of Trump and all this action. Of course, the Democratic Party, they did a good job to put that on, campaign. I appreciate that. But do not, negate the fact that people like you who came out and voted and put the whole entire Michigan on the top of the map for the United States of America for 2018 election. So put your hand together for that, what you did in 2018, please. So my plan as the next chair of MDP, and here is the list, I will bring in every county, there are 83 counties, Democratic Diversity Caucus, Democratic Veteran Caucus, Democratic Faith Caucus, Democratic Women Caucus, Student Caucus, Muslim Caucus, Latino Caucus, Asian Caucus, Progressive Caucus, and the Rural Caucus, and the Cyberspace Caucus. That's my biggest goal, and we will include all the party and all the committee and everything on the website like mdmichigandams.com. So I want to tell you the model, michigandams.org.
You and me are the same height. You and me are the same height. You could look around. Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
The brother got 7 degrees. He can talk, I'm telling you. In fact, we got a lot of people up here who are very educated and got degrees, and they're doing their thing here. And like I said earlier, folks are interviewing for a job. That's what's going on. You talked about qualifications to lead the party, and it's a big job and that kind of thing. And I get 2 seconds of
that. That was my 3.
I'm sorry. What we need to have is a leader at the top. We can hire good administrators. We can hire good mathematicians. We can hire good people that can, move stuff around. But we need people that can motivate people. A leader that can stand with you and is willing to stick their neck out for you. Not people who hide behind a desk or hide up in Lansing. Now, you've talked about a lot of things here in relationship to the Yemeni community, and one of the most shocking things to me is that there's nobody from your community that's part of the leadership now. Now, that's ridiculous to me. But it can be hard for a brother or sister in a Democratic Party sometimes. You know, Barack Obama, a long time ago, he was on the ballot the first time. Remember that? Left his name off the ballot.
Yep, he did.
But Hillary Clinton's name was on the ballot. Because, see, that's what the establishment does. And that was under a Democratic governor. And then the next time, we got a brother from the same Democratic governor who pushed the brother to the top, and he got half a chair. We couldn't even get the whole chair. And then that fell apart. That was a co-chair with Mark Brewer. And then this last summer, y'all know what happened. We had a good guy. Brother worked for Obama, degrees, all kind of stuff. Came in as the establishment candidate. They loved him. You know how they do? They lift you up. They loved him. We went to the convention. What started happening? White folks started going this way. Black folks started going this way. And at the end of the day, we had a new establishment candidate. And the picture that you saw that zoomed around the world with the new establishment candidate was a whole bunch of white people around this woman, a couple black, brown folks looking like raisins in the oatmeal. And then on the other side, where the brother was, you had this rainbow of people, black people, white people, everybody. But it was too late for him. He was under the bus. So we got to change that kind of establishment mindset, which has to do with race, and it has to do with class, and it has to do with entitlement. The folks at the top have been doing that and acting that way, and we got to change that. Just changing, same skin, no kin, doesn't always, y'all know what I'm saying, but we need to have somebody who is humble and is fearless and has taken on the establishment time and time again, and that's what I've done, and that's what I'll do for you. I got your back. Get mine.
Thank you. Thank you. I hate to cut.
I saw you,
but my 3 minutes was not over.
First, I want to thank you all for inviting us here and for sticking it out with us this evening. These questions have been terrific, and I appreciate that. I want to try to address questions. Number one, I want to vouch for my folks up here. I've been with them all over the state on these panels, and they say the same thing to all the communities. They believe what they're saying. We all do. And I do indeed hope that you will hold at least me, if I'm elected, accountable if I say anything here that I don't follow through with when I am chair. I love this idea of a post-election post-mortem. We did one this cycle with our coordinated campaign team. I love the idea of bringing in the teams from other campaigns to have those conversations as well. And I'm saying here to you and to anyone who will hear me, I will do it. I think it makes a lot of sense. The way we bring folks together, I think, is to get everybody in the room with open ears and open hearts. What I find a lot of times is that we get in the room and we point to each other and we label each other. And I think that there's more that brings us together than divides us, no matter what kind of Democrat we are. So if we can open the doors and let everybody in to our big tent and then have those conversations and listen, I think we have a better party and we're all better for it. So in conclusion, because I know he's about to stand up, I would honestly appreciate your support on February 2nd at Cobo Hall. I'm looking forward to building on the success we had in 2018. I'm very proud of what we did in 2018. I don't claim it as all my own. It was a lot of people working very hard all over the state, and we're going to have to do it all again, all over again, starting right away in 2019, and I would be honored, thrilled to lead our party in that process. I will say the only way we win in 2020, which I think is the party's main job now, let's win elections, is if we start this work now and we don't stop working until we've won it all.
Continuous Improvement Committee. It could be the responsibility of our executive board to look at where we are, look at what's going wrong, and continuously fix it. As for bringing us together, I think we need to actively have events with different caucuses and groups, break bread. I mean, I'm Italian, we love, that's what we love to do, and I would love to eat with you and have that situation. But I think the most profound question today was by you, sir. How are we going to, not turn into the upper elite? Well, I am you. I'm an activist. I'm a volunteer. I've never gotten paid to be a Democrat. I am a true believer. It is in my heart. And I know the way I want a better world. That's who we are as Democrats, right? And I believe the way we can get a better world is if we elect more Democrats and we hold them accountable. You know, the Michigan Democratic Party didn't win the election. I won it. You won it, right? Who knocked doors? Who made calls? Who did the work? And I'm a political activist. I'm a grassroots activist. I'm passionate. I joke in my own club. I can't believe people pick up the phone because I call them and I say, hey, they know I'm going to ask them to do something. And you know what? They know it and they still pick up the phone. You know why? Because they're political activists too. Because they know I'm their leader and they say, okay, there's work to be done. We're going to do it. Now, when I get to Lansing, I will serve. I will serve you. I will serve with love, and I will serve with passion, and I will serve boldly. And you know, I'm a very nice person. Everyone says you're so nice. Well, my husband would probably tell you I can get pretty mad too. No one has gotten me mad around here, but there is plenty of time for me to fight. I will fight because I am a true believer. And thank you. It's an honor to be here with you. I'm going to head for the sweets after this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for accepting to come to our caucus and to our community. We definitely wish you the best, and we truly appreciate your effort. Each one of you is making an effort in order for him or her to make a difference. So, doesn't matter who wins, we thank all of you for your effort, and I definitely thank your husband for driving you around. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Have a great time. Please don't forget to come to our room in the convention, in February 2nd convention. Please remind your friends, yourself to come. Thank you and have a good night.